AD Racers. So this week is the Gen 1 tournament where you're not allowed to have any races. So it's just everybody's out there getting going thanks to DERC Army. You, Mark, have been working with Brad on building out this year, the table for the best names. I have been working on Super Jockey's race scraper information. So we don't currently have a horse. We'll have one later today, hopefully, if it doesn't get stuck. It's been registered, but we are 4 days into this.
A Gen 1 horse. We've definitely got horses.
Good point.
We don't have a Gen 1 horse.
So yeah, so our competitor has not yet existed. So we're sitting here anxiously waiting for our Gen 1 to appear so we could put it into the races and get things going. So we've been very busy this past week trying to get everything prepped. So Super Jockey's race scraper, this thing has just been invaluable. Oh, my bot's kicking on. Let me minimize this. And so on the background, so the data that gets scraped from Super Jockey comes in this kind of format, which is not like ours. So if I switch over to our format,
I think we've teased this a little bit in previous videos, so people will recognize this.
Yeah, and people that are seeing this, they might think we're a little bit insane because you can notice that we have 8,431 lines, and almost all of these have been manually entered by us. And it's gotten excruciating since we've added the bot because it's gone from 20 races a day to 100, 200 races a day between the stables. And so I think combined, we're probably like 4 or 5 hours of manual entry. It's not good.
It's ridiculous. So we fixed that.
Yep. So I built a system that's now processing this. We're using Google Sheets for this. This is not available to anybody yet. It's what we're working on in the background, but we'll dive into this a little bit more. So we're taking our data, we break it into a couple different sections where we have what we call indisputable. It's where we know our horses are good based off of time. But today what we want to focus on is, I guess, our DNA testing. So
gotta find that baby.
Yeah. So Burra and Skondert, they have bred twice before, yielding Naysayer and Donde Albano. And as you can see, Burra and Skondert have very high podium rates overall, but neither Naysayer's 24.76 to Donde's 25.7. I mean, they're 10 points behind their parents. So we've had no luck yet breeding a successful Gen 1. So we're hoping that this third one's coming out is going to be the one that we're going to finally see a good horse. Skondert, he's going to be able to be bred soon. So as soon as that goes to ready to go, we're going to get to it.
Yeah, we're less than a day away.
So now as we're entering this tournament 4 days late, we have to do a lot of catch up. So the plan behind all of this is when we talk about these two horses with the intervals, start comparing Skondert to Burra. Skondert is exceptionally good when it comes to turf. So if I switch this over to turf, I have a strong suspicion that when he's racing, if we can get a baby that's going to come out similar to him, 6s and 7s on turf are going to be where it's at. When I go to Skondert specifically, again, 5s and 6s, he has an 18.56% first place podium, a 17% first place podium when it comes to this. If we can get a horse that's a little bit better than Skondert on those ones, I think for me, the initial testing that I'm going to attack is going to be 5s, 6s, and 7s on furlong. Just have to focus.
I think when we look at the interval plotting, one of the nice things is being able to compare multiple horses. So in this case, we can compare Skondert to Burra. We know that Skondert's more consistent.
Yep.
And we know that any child that comes out of them, any foal that's born, needs to be able to beat the parents at least on one distance.
Yeah.
Ideally more than one. And if we have an incredible baby, we'll be able to track that and see that here. But you can see that Burra actually outpaces Skondert on one distance or one or two, and turf 10s are her thing.
Yep.
So if we can pair those together and get a baby that can do turf 10s or can do turf 8s, 9s, 10s, something like that, because Skondert's good at that and Burra's good at that, we're sitting pretty. But that's how we assess what we're looking at here.
Yeah, unfortunately, DeRace is going to give us, was it 3 or 4 days straight of
four
DERCs?
Four straight days of one DERC. Yeah.
Does that start tomorrow on Friday?
That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and one DERC Monday.
Okay, so when I'm doing, because you're going to be traveling in the middle of the tournament, so I'm going to be doing most of this management. So we have a week together. I'm assuming then with turf, when I get the bot going and I'm really hammering down on what we would call training, I'm going to focus 5, 6, 7, and then I'm probably going to skip 8, 9 and go to 10. So 5, 6, 7, 10 on turf. Would you agree, or should we add more to that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good starting point. The hard thing is like you may start there and realize that the baby is not a turf baby at all, and so you have to pivot quickly.
Yep.
It may be that the distance is correct, but it may be that it's a synthetic baby.
Well, so then what do you think we should focus on? Like I personally think initially I'm going to leave all synth out. I want to focus entirely on turf, maybe dirt, because Burra is a better dirt horse.
Yeah, Burrow's amazing on dirt. That's one of her things. It's going to be interesting to see if we split our time between dirt and turf. Do we see any standout distances? I think, like anything, we're going to be able to determine pretty early, does the horse have stamina? Can it go long distance? So if you're running some turfs, maybe you're throwing in some 13s, 14s, 15s to see if the horse can even remotely do anything there. If it can't, you pivot and you go to like maybe synthetic 2s, 3s, and 4s to see if this horse is all about reaction time and sprint speed.
Okay.
So you'll have to play with it a little bit initially to see what they're good at, and then obviously, especially the first couple of days, going to be trying to knock out as many races as possible.
Now, looking at yours, so you got a lot of experience with dirt 3s and 4s.
Mm-hmm.
7s, not as much, but I'm curious. I'm assuming then that I should target 3s and 4s with this baby, and then to experiment with stamina, should we throw in 7s as well into the mix?
Well, so 6s is actually Burrow's best moneymaker,
Okay.
best results. I run a lot of 3s and 4s, but 6s, she's just a hair better there. 3s and 4s, she's closer to population average, but she wins a lot.
Okay.
So she has a good variance or standard deviation on all of her races, allowing her to still podium at a high rate. So I think 3s, 4s, 6s on dirt would be a good place to start. See if the baby can even do dirt at all.
Okay.
It's pretty obvious if a horse can't do dirt. We know that from the rest of our stable. I don't know.
Dirt.
We might have one other horse that can even remotely run dirt. So you know pretty quick if that stamina burn that you see on dirt is going to be a problem.
Yeah, Sconder can kind of show up on 4s, which will have some overlap with your 3, 4, 6s. Now, I'm just wondering too, should we try to throw in some outside specs? Like if I go back, where was I looking on the horse stats? Should we focus on our best of the best and hope that this next breed is going to carry on those ones? Or should we start adding in some 2s and 15s to mix in? I mean, we only have what, 3, 4 days tops before the competition starts. So we have got to plan this closely.
I think the beauty of the bot that we have allows us to get into the races that are available, not just the ones that we want to target. So obviously we have the ones we want to target. Let's say it's a half dozen different courses early on where you want to see, can this baby handle the things that the parents are really good at? But you also, you're right, want to bookend the abilities. So running those 15s, those 13, 14, 15 turf, or 2s, 3s, 4s synthetic, or even like 5s on turf to see if they can handle the low stamina sprint speed races. Okay. Because that'll tell us whether or not we've got a short distance or long distance horse, which will then, I think, allow you for the last couple days of discovery to switch to, well, let's find the track that's really good in this lower half or in this upper half of distances.
Now, if I remember correctly, stamina is most consumed on dirt and least consumed, is it on turf?
Turf, yeah.
Okay, so if we take both bookends of the spectrum, if we focused on 7s and 2s on dirt, and then we do 5s and 15s at turf, I'm just wondering, is synthetic even relevant at all for this early stage discovery? If
well,
Burra and Sconder,
if we're just going purely off of what DERC has to say, they recommend that you start on synthetic as a means to say, well, this is the middle road, like, and that gives you the best sense of, are they a sprinting horse or a stamina horse? Can they go full distance on synthetic? If so, then you might look at your longer dirt races or your longer turf races and see if they're also good on those.
Yeah.
So it can help you go left or right, basically. Do we want to go dirt? Do we want to go turf? But for us, I don't actually mind, since we know the parents are good at dirt and turf, starting there, and we can work our way back to the middle if we find that the baby is in fact a synthetic horse.
Well, so Donde did come out to be let me go back to Donde here. If I could find it. Where did she go? There she is. All right. So on Paradise, Donde that's the place where she actually can yield the highest for her. So on Donde, it's 6, and she's pulling in a 17.14%.
Yeah.
Early discovery, it looks like if you can have a horse, and again, I'm assuming most people that are watching are in the tournament, but if you're not, the grand prize goes to the horse that has the highest first place percentage. So I don't care about seconds and thirds. I care about this horse just crushing first place. And so when I'm looking at some of these stats, I'm just immediately ignoring anything that is not massively double digits. So
now keep in mind though, if we're pairing two parents, we know that our two horses are slightly different. So Burra could do synthetic 6s and 8s for a period of time.
Okay.
We've since learned that she just not quite good enough to really make money off of those, but her mid-range synthetic was decent.
Yeah.
I've since moved away from that. She can do dirt and she can do turf. Synthetic, for whatever reason, there's too many other good horses that are right in that middle range. So Donde being good at, say, synthetic 6s doesn't actually tell you a whole lot, because that's literally the middle of the road. Like you're talking an average stamina, average speed being right smack in the middle of the 2 through 11 furlongs that synthetic provides you. So if anything, that's proving that Donde might be just an average horse.
Yeah, and I think she is. And I'm looking at Naysayer. He didn't show up at all when it came to synthetic. On dirts, he did show up on 5. So he has a 16.5% first place with 121 races. So I think he was stealing a little bit of burr on that one.
Yeah.
Turf, he also liked 5s as well. So Skondert's on 5s were strong, but I mean, this is 10 races. I got to hit some. that
might be confusing.
Yeah, I don't believe that data. Too little experience. Okay. So then just planning this out, because the bot's going to make a huge help to this one, but we have to have limitations, right? So is it 20 races at the minimum that
I think you have to do 30 races during the second week of the race. So the first week doesn't mean anything other than discovery, though it does matter for fastest time. So if you win the fastest time, you throw we call them lower limit races, like an LL2, you may win some additional money in the tournament or in the competition. But yeah, we're looking for 30 races in that second week on any track we want. So we could split it up into 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, or we could do 10, 10, 10, or we could do whatever works best for us. But we're looking for that highest first place percentage.
Okay. So then another question I would have for you, since you and I, we've experienced a lot of cycles, Naysayer had the most painful cycles with his, like he would run 20 bad races in a row and then 20 races just spectacular, where Skondert's always like really tight waves. How many races do you think we should run in this early stage discovery before I move on to the next one with limited time?
Well, we know that on the one, well, in the past, One DERC Mondays, you can run up to about 70 races in a day with the bot. So let's assume we can't quite get that many. Let's assume we can do like 50. You're looking at possibly over a 2 to 3 day period, depending on when our breeding happens and we get that baby and can get started, probably 150-ish races total. So you're going to be splitting that up. I suspect we're going to want to probably target half a dozen, 5 to 6 on each of our target courses early, see if any of them hit early, and then finish out our training on those. Probably do 10 to 15 races if you can on those. See if we get into a down cycle, or if we hold consistent.
Okay, so then I don't want to give away too much strategy because we might be competing with people that are watching this. But one thing I will say is that down cycle. If we think that this horse is showing good signs of, let's say, turf sixes, do you think we should get our discovery stage understood a little bit and then keep hitting those sixes until we lose like 6 or 7 bad ones in a row and just hope that we have 6 good ones following the cycle?
I don't know that you're going to have enough time for that, because if we're targeting, let's say on the low end, we've got to hit 8 or 10 different tracks, and you've only got 150, you've only got 20 races each. So knocking out half of those in the first wave of discovery and then trying to go through a full cycle to see if let's say you do 15 more and you see a downturn of half a dozen races in a row. The question is, were you lucky in the first 6 to 10 races and that downturn is actually just bringing you back down to your average? Or are you just in a really bad upper limit run and you need to get those out of the way so you can get back to what that horse is actually good at? That's going to be impossible to tell in 3 to 4 days. Yeah. So we're going to be purely guessing.
Okay. So like as a teaser to this, you and I have spoken about a couple different strategies where we think we could execute during this tournament. Don't want to say it here, but our plan is to document this tournament and we will divulge what we did. Hopefully it works for us. But we'll share with you guys what our plans are. I really very much see this game as a sport. So again, DERC Army, awesome job on putting this together. I think this is really fun considering that there is strategy that's being brought in. It's going away from that slot machine feeling, and it's more of a, okay, let's break this down, let's attack this. And so I'm really excited.
Yeah, and everyone's got a different idea. If you haven't had a chance, jump over into the DERC Army Discord and just see the chatter that's happening. It's really fun to follow during Discovery Week. Yeah,
all the code that I've been writing has just really kept me quiet, unfortunately. So I'm excited to have that done so I can get back to engaging with people. I'm assuming there might be some questions. So if people want to ask questions about how we are doing this and maybe some of the logic behind this, we can talk about this. Not sure how much we'll be able to divulge just yet. We've been growing this spreadsheet and it's been a lot of fun, a lot of work, but
absolutely,
it's just, ever evolving. All right, man. I think that hits on all the things that I wanted to cover today. Do you have any other?
I think that's it for today.
All right, guys. Well, good luck out there. We'll catch up with you again soon.